Detecting abnormality. Another problem with the Rorschach, the psychologists say in their review, is the test tends to overpathologize, making even normal people look maladjusted. In a study which they reviewed of 123 subjects with no psychiatric history who were given the test, most at a California blood bank, 16% scored in the abnormal range on the test schizophrenia index, far higher than the 1% incidence of the illness in the general population indicated in other surveys. 18% showed signs of clinical depression on the test, and 29% had indicators of extreme narcissism. Empirical backing of the validity of the other two projective measures, the TAT and the human figure drawing test, was sketchy at best, and the reviewers' authors found with the drawing test the weakest of the three tests. Psychologists like Dr. Weiner said that the principles of Rorschach interpretation and another book on the test strongly disputed the conclusions drawn in the review. They said a diagnosis was never made on the basis of the test alone. There are plenty of studies that show the Rorschach can help you identify people who have schizophrenia or whether people are depressed, Dr. Weiner said. But the test doesn't make the diagnosis. No single test that a clinician uses makes the diagnosis. If you're going to use this instrument effectively, you're going to take a lot of things into consideration. He added, tests don't overpathologize. That's done by the person who interprets them. Dr. Mayer of the University of Alaska said that while more research needed to be done on some of the issues raised by Dr. Lilienfeld and his colleagues, their views did not fairly reflect what is known about the validity of the Rorschach and other tests. In an article to be published in the Journal of American Psychologists, Dr. Mayer and other researchers conclude that the validity of the psychological tests, including the Rorschach and the TAT, is comparable to that of medical tests like ultrasounds and MRIs. The article is based on a review of the 125 meta-analyses of the validity of psychological and medical tests. But even Dr. Exner, the developer of the comprehensive system, agreed that the test can be abused unwittingly by the ill-trained person, he said. He was uncomfortable with the use of the test in adversarial settings like custody disputes unless the psychologist who's working for the court rather than one parent or the other. It takes a long time to learn the Rorschach, and you've got to work at it. It's not simple, said Dr. Exner, who is also the curator of the Rorschach archives. The real question for clinicians in using this test, he said, is what do you want to know about the individual? If you're interested only in some diagnostic labeling, Dr. Exner said, I don't know that